These are great movies! When you got movies like Tom Cruise in them, you can't lose. 6 bags of popcorn, 2 sodas. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heideck. My guest today is Greg Turkington.
Hey guys. Good to be here. In the meantime, I will be teaching film history classes at some of the local community centers in the area.
I thought this was a great movie. It had me on the edge of my seat the entire time because it was one of those movies I thought, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And I love this movie. Greg?
John Goodman should be renamed John Greatman after this because he's Oscar worthy. Now this film is interesting in that they have cloned Michael Keaton. And for anyone who's ever seen Michael Keaton and knows what a national treasure he is, you would have to agree that having 100 Michael Keatons is not just a great idea for a movie, but it would be a great idea for Hollywood because then we could have him in a lot of movies at once, and that would be a treat.
Right. Well, I wish they had cloned 100 Annie
McDowell's, well, I think 50 would be plenty for her. She hasn't had quite the career that Michael Keaton has, but the film's great, and I'd like to clone 100 copies of this and give one to everyone I know so that they could have a nice summer weekend at home. Make some time this weekend to see Multiplicity. Serial killers are not funny business. That's definitely a segment of society that should be eliminated, which they do at the end of this movie. I wouldn't call it a lot of fun, but it's definitely thought-provoking, keeps you on the edge of your seat.
So I'm giving Red Dawn 5 bags of popcorn, and it's and no sodas.
I'm going to give it 4 bags of popcorn and maybe just a cup of water.
And it's directed by Dan Bradley. All right, our next movie on the list is called Life of Pi. And I know you're thinking, dessert, pie, but this is actually the dessert, not dessert, it's the PI from Math. And it's based on a book, not Private Detective either. Which I suppose would be a good idea for a movie. Be interesting to see what a PI does.
Have you seen Fletch?
Yes.
Fletch, Chevy Chase. All the animals in it, they could have called it Animal House too, because it was just filled with animals. And if you love animals, if you're an animal lover, and I know I am, you'll like this movie. I like the Fletch movies better, but I would still recommend it.
I'm telling you, if you see one movie this year, it's got to be this one. Sorry guys, I can't give great reviews to every movie I see. This one's only getting 3 bags of popcorn. I don't know what movies to see this weekend. Well, we're here to help. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker.
This week on my Popcorn Classic segment, we're looking at Murphy's Romance, starring James Garner and Sally Field, 2 great actors, or actor and actresses, or an actor and an actress in the prime of their career. She's Murphy. I'm not sure what his character is called. The film doesn't really work. There's no chemistry. The age difference was just a little too vast. So
yeah, I remember seeing this many years ago. Not really my kind of film, but if you're into romantic comedies, I guess this would be a movie you want to check out.
It's you know what? It's one of those ones you see time and time again if you haunt the dollar bins. So pick it up, give it a chance.
All right. It reminds me of the old saying Murphy's Law, which says anything bad happens will.
And that's funny because I bought this film and I went home to play it and the tape was all messed up and it took 2 years till I found another copy. And when I did, I didn't really like it much. So that is kind of Murphy's Law.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Interesting that you bring that in if you didn't like it. Anyhow, I know you're a Bond head.
I'm a Bond freak, and seeing Skyfall is why we do what we do, is to have the chance to see movies like this and enjoy them. And no one enjoys James Bond more than I do. I mean, anytime you have a chance to see a James Bond film, you've got to see it. They're all great movies. There has not been a James Bond movie that's not a 10 out of 10. This one is no exception. I really loved it. I think it's right up there with the best of the best.
All right, well, so Skyfall, I'm not a really big fan of the Bond movies myself, but I just don't like, I'd rather watch other movies. I'd rather watch Steven Spielberg movies, which I'll get into next. Anyway, Greg?
I'm going to give it, well, 5's the most we can give, so I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn, but I'm going to pack them tight with as much corn as I can get in there, and an extra ladle of butter because I love this movie. It's right up there with the best of Bond.
All right. You could also add sodas if you want.
All right, then I'll add 100 sodas.
All right. Well, great. Well, I'm giving it as many bags of popcorn as you can, which is 6 bags of popcorn and 3 sodas.
I'm going to give it 5. Well, no, I'm going to give it 4 because I gave the Bond 5 and I preferred that. I'll give this 4, but I'm going to throw in a roll of Lincoln pennies.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tim Heidecker. I'm the host of On Cinema at the Cinema. It's the only webisode show where we tell you what's coming out in the theaters this weekend and also tell you what movies to check out and also maybe what movies you could skip. This one is called Hyde Park of the Hudson, about another famous U.S. president named Franklin Roosevelt. And it stars, surprisingly, Bill Murray as President President Franklin D. Roosevelt. President Franklin Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My one-word review is finally, because I've been waiting for this film. When the Lord of the Rings series ended, it was a blow. We felt like, well, this is sort of our era coming to a close, and what next? And I'm sort of a Hobbit freak, and so when I heard that they were going to do this, I got very, very excited, started counting the days, Xing out the days on the calendar until The Hobbit would finally be made reality, and it has, and I couldn't be happier with the results. This is fun, and I saw it on the big IMAX screen, but I would watch it again on the smallest screen available. I mean, any size, you're going to love this film.
It's great. You got Peter Jackson's back at the helm. You got Morgan Freeman, Ian McKellen.
It's Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman, Egan McKellen, Richard Armitage,
Bilbo Baggins, the Hobbit himself, and that's what really makes this movie rock and roll. He's sort of a personal hero of mine, and to see him fully realized like this, it makes your heart skip a beat. It really does.
Oh yeah. I'm watching this movie, and this is the way I felt during Lord of the Rings. Was how do they do all that special effects? In other words, the people that are tiny, short, small hobbits versus the tall humans. All the technology that goes into making this movie kind of makes you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't too worried about the details, the nitty-gritty, the nuts and bolts. I'm just sitting back with some popcorn enjoying the film, and that's the way you should do it too.
The first movie we're going to talk about is Zero Dark 30, which is a documentary about the hunt for Osama bin Laden, one of the original bad guys in cinema and in the world. And as we all remember, so many years ago, a couple years ago, we had the death of Osama bin Laden, killed in action after we spent years hunting him for the murder of 9/11 and who is responsible for terrible terror, and about the men and women who did take him out and killed him, and all the work that went into going through that with the Navy SEALs and the attack on his compound because of where they knew where he was. And
would have liked to have seen more about Osama bin Laden's life before all this stuff happened, sort of how he filled his days and that sort of thing. And they didn't really get into that, so that's one flaw. Osama bin Laden, that film should be called Monsters, Inc., because he was a total monster. But no, this is something different. This is, of course, the old Monsters, Inc. We've seen it a million times, seen it on TV. No reason really to go to the theater, but
see, I think you're wrong there. I think it is important to go see this movie on theaters. So go check out Monsters Inc. I'm giving it 3 stars, 3 corns.
I love the movie. I'm going to give it 5 buckets of popcorn. But watch it on video.
You're crazy. You're wasting your time if you're sitting at home watching this on your shitty TV.
The theater that I went to, the 3D, was not working properly, and with the cost of parking these days, it's not validated.
Money is no object when it comes to great entertainment.
I just assume stay at home, and I love the movie. I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorites, but I think you're better off buying it. You can buy it on eBay, place a bid, and see what happens. You might get lucky.
No.
We're here right now at the apartment where Mr. Lugosi passed away one sad, gloomy day many, many years ago. Bela Lugosi, the great Bela Lugosi, died right here. Piece of Hollywood history for you. Back to you, Tim.
Thanks for that. Parental Guidance with Billy Crystal. And it's been a while since we've seen Billy on the screen.
Not on my screen. I watch a lot of videos of his.
Managed to combine family values with comedy in a way that I haven't seen since probably Monsters, Inc. Well, I said to my wife this morning, I said, I bet the producers of this movie were pissed when they remembered that there was the movie called Three Amigos, because between Billy Crystal, Bette Midler, and Marissa Tomei, those were the three amigos in this movie because of the energy and their comic sensibility and everything.
Well, speaking of the title, I was thinking on my way here that it would be really funny if the movie's called Parental Guidance and then they rated it R. But
I'm glad it was
Parental
rated
Guidance
PG,
is
but
PG.
I'm glad it was rated PG though, because it is a movie for the kids and for families.
Yeah, no, that's the right rating for it.
Right.
I'm just saying it would have been funny if they'd rated it R.
Not my kind of humor. I appreciate that, and I loved, as you know, I loved Hobbit, but I'm going to go with the dark horse here. Jack Reacher was my favorite film of the year, starring Tom Cruise. I remember when I reviewed this movie, I thought that I loved it, and I gave it a great review, but I didn't give it enough credit because I went and saw it again, and it is fabulous. It's Tom Cruise's best movie. It's the best movie of the year. I thought that movie was terrific, and I think Tom Cruise should win the Oscar.
It's an excellent film, and I'm not going to disagree with you.
Now, as far as the worst movie of the year for me, or the movie that I didn't like as much, was Skyfall, James Bond. And I loved some of the scenes with the action, but too many moments in the movie I was confused about what was going on. I hate having to go see Bond movies because I always get confused about who's the bad guy. And there's no reason to be confused when you're seeing a movie. They should always be fun. And Skyfall gets my no bags of popcorn.
Well, that was one of my favorite movies of the year because I love James Bond. That was probably the best of the Bond movies.
Well,
if you don't
but
like
it's not
this
an
movie,
argument.
you don't like James Bond
It's not
because
an
this is one of the best James Bond movies. So.
It's not an argument about the movie itself. You just pick what was your least favorite movie. Don't defend Skyfall.
Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise, just not a good film. Just
You gave it a great review when we reviewed it. So
I saw it
very
again
spiteful.
since then, and I didn't like it. It's just it's amateurish. It's junk.
Well, I loved it. It's my favorite movie of the year.
Well, you didn't see it then because it's crap.
I saw it 3 times.
Well, I saw it twice, and the first time I thought it was okay. The second time the flaws became apparent. I would not watch it a third time.
Well, all right. I think you're being a little hard on it because I said some bad things about Skyfall, but that's what happens.
Well, Skyfall got great reviews. Jack Reacher, mixed reviews.
I brought in Star Trek 4. If anyone listens to the podcast, they'll know that there's been a big disagreement between Greg and I on the plot of Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. Greg seems to insist that Star Trek 2 is where they go back to San Francisco.
Yeah,
but what's
that's
true
right.
is Star Trek 4 is the one where they go back to San Francisco. Listen to this. Kirk and his crew must time travel back to 1986.
You're reading off the card or off the box?
No, I'm reading off the box. Kirk and his crew must time travel back to 1986 San Francisco, where they find a world of punk, pizza, and exact change buses that are as alien as anything they've ever encountered in the far reaches of the galaxy. That's the plot of Star Trek 4. Argument over, argument settled. I have been proven correct once again.
Now, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, is where they go to San Francisco. The voyage home, they go back into space. That's where their home is. That's the voyage home.
No, they're from Earth. That's where they're going back to Earth. The voyage
I don't think
home.
Spock is from Earth. I don't think you've seen anything like that on Earth. And Star Trek IV...
Guys, if you guys know the answer to
This
this,
is not the artwork from Star Trek IV. This is not the real... There's no hologram. You see, that's how you could tell a pirated
This
video.
is the original...
If you look at a legitimate video, like the Dick Tracy video... Oh, this is a pirated video, too. Oh, no, see? Here's the security seal. There's no security seal.
Well, there is a security seal. It says 1797 right underneath the
That's
Paramount
called a
segment.
catalog number, so it doesn't mean anything. Anyway, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, is a great movie. I don't know what's on that tape. It's probably Star Wars 2, because that's a pirate that you probably got in Malaysia or something. That's not something that they would sell at a real store here because you go to jail for piracy, and you should.